like really aggressive about it. Yeah?
So would this be a monologue?
No, because it's the two of them talking.
Good.
A monologue would have to be Laertes speaking to the whole court. But Ophelia's response is really important. Let's hear it.
I shall the effect of this good blessing keep as watchman to my heart, but good my brother do not as some ungracious pastors do. Show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whilst like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of Dalian's treads, and recks not his own reed.
So she says, okay, I get it. I think this is good advice. But don't expect me to take this thorny way to heaven, like to live this chaste and proper life, while you're getting your unmastered importunity and your cankerworm into all sorts of places it doesn't belong. So she kind of calls him on it. She says, don't expect me to behave so perfectly if you're out there doing what you shouldn't be doing. And they kind of laugh about it, and Laertes says, all right, point taken, and they move on. So the most important thing here is, where is Laertes coming from? What do you think he's motivated by? Why is he saying this to her?
He wants control over her.
Do you get that feel?
He wants her to be safe.
He wants her to be safe. I think he'd love to have control, but he wants his sister just to use common sense, and he's worried about it. And that's a pretty stark contrast from what happens with her father. And that's the important part about this scene. Right after this, Polonius pops in, and he, like Laertes just did to Ophelia, he now gives Laertes all of this advice before Laertes leaves. Now we're going to condense this. He says a ton of things. Don't get into a fight unless it's a fight you can win. Don't say too much, but listen to everything that other people say. Don't spend beyond your means, but always look nice. It's sort of like when you go out to dinner or when you go to a friend's house for dinner and your mom has to remind you of all the things that there are expected. Say please and thank you. Don't put your elbows on the table. Clear your dish. Don't eat the last piece of bread. Don't talk with your mouth full. What are your parents, what are the things they drilled into you? Why do your parents care about how you behave when you have dinner somewhere else? It reflects on them. So for Polonius, he wants his children to behave a certain way because it reflects on him. But at the end of his little speech, he contradicts everything he says. So look at the end of that blurb. What does Polonius say that basically contradicts all of the little reminders he gave his son? This above all, to thine own self be true. So he basically dictates how he should be behaving, what he should do, what he shouldn't do. But then he says, but this above all, be true to yourself. That is a really important quotation because it's the best advice in the play. If Hamlet followed that advice, we'd have a one-act play and we'd be done this week. But he doesn't. And no one pays attention to Polonius because Polonius is the buffoon. And Polonius himself doesn't even listen to Polonius. But that line is an important one. So he's pretty liberal with his son. Above everything else, be true to yourself. Is that what he follows up here with Ophelia? No. He basically says to Ophelia, you are never to speak to Hamlet again because you are going to make a fool of me. He never says what Laertes says, like I'm worried about your reputation, I'm worried about you getting your heart broken. He doesn't care about any of that. He cares about how it reflects on him. Take a look at line 104. Well, right before that, he says, affection, speaking of Hamlet, you speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them? And he has emasculated her so much. Look at the way she responds. I do not know, my lord, what I should think. Tell me what I should think. Because he doesn't respect her enough to hear her true opinion. I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby. That you have taken these tenders of true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of a poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool. So what we have here is another motif. And this is going to be important as we look at the next scene. And this is the idea that some parents sacrifice their children's happiness to serve themselves. And this is, again, Shakespeare's brilliance. So he gives you this example of how Polonius treats his daughter. He doesn't care about what makes her happy. He doesn't care, he doesn't care about anything but himself. In the next scene, where are we? Huh? We're back on the grounds with Hamlet and his father. How is that relationship similar? And we're going to look at that right now. So let's jump to that quickly. Act 1, Scene 4. They're out there. Hamlet gives his, little speech about, why would I not follow the ghost? I don't hold my life on a pin's fee. I don't care if I die. That would be doing me a favor if the ghost kills me. So Marcellus and Horatio are both very concerned that he's going to follow this ghost and perhaps, follow it to his death. On page 58, Marcellus has a very, very famous line. So Hamlet takes off with the ghost, and Marcellus says, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Very famous line. And he's absolutely right. Something is rotten. That's the mitigating factor for why the ghost is there. And if it isn't removed, what's going to happen to all of Denmark? It's going to rot. All right, so let's see what the ghost has to say. All right, ghost, you come in with your woo. Good, Hamlet.
Whither wilt thou speak? Thou leave me? Speak, I'll go no further.
Marquis,
I will.
my hour is almost come. When I do so first, and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak, I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
All right, so what does the word bound mean? Give me a synonym.
Willing?
Huh? Willing? It's more than willing. If you're bound to do something, you're obligated, right? So the ghost, Hamlet says, I must hear you. I have to hear. And the ghost says, and you will have to avenge me because that's your responsibility, is the subtext. So when we look at this, it's present. So just like Polonius wasn't hearing the opposing point of view or considering what would make Ophelia happy, neither is the ghost. He's saying, you are my son, and you are bound to avenge me. Go ahead, Hamlet.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fasts and fires, till the foul crimes done in my day of nature are burnt and burst away. But what I must forbid, because the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars of their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks apart, and each particular hair to stand on end, with quills upon the crescent porcupine. But this eternal blazon must not be the ears of flesh and blood. List, list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love.
Oh God.
The revenge is foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder.
Okay, so up to this point, has Hamlet suspected any foul play? Any evidence of foul play in the soliloquy? No, he's just unhappy. But now he learns from the ghost that his father was murdered. But what line speaks to the ghost's manipulation? Yeah, Grace.
If thou didst ever thy dear father love.
Right. If you ever loved me, you will avenge me. So what happens if Hamlet goes, oh God, Dad, this really isn't my thing? What is it suggesting? He doesn't love his father.